Hi, we're here with Christian Wheeler, who's a writer at nDreams. We're going to ask him a few questions and find out more about his fascinating personality and his career. How did you get into the industry?
Well, I was originally in films and TV, working as a writer and an editor. And you guys brought me in, basically, you and Chris Nuttall. I knew Chris from working at A Studios, and he was always saying, "Oh yeah, one day I'm going to work for the for the video industry, video games, and I'll give you a shout." And I never believed him, never believed a word he said, and one day he did, and I thought, fantastic. I mean, what a great opportunity. It was like he was working for this new video games company, and it was just a little more exciting than what I was doing, basically. So why not? It was really interesting. So I just dived in.
Did you always know that you wanted to write, to be a writer?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, ever since school. Ridiculous, really. Ever since writing essays in school, I just always wanted to write the best ones. I know it sounds really stupid, but I was always after just, just chasing those A's and all that, just coming up with stupid science fiction stories and things that are absolutely ridiculous. But it was the one thing in school I really made that effort at, is to try and come up with just great ideas. And then when I moved into the film industry, just as a trainee first, and then into the editing department, even then I was always writing, and through that got an agent and started writing for TV and stuff.
Where do you get your inspiration from for your stories?
Everywhere, here, all around. Literally just looking at the world, and just, most importantly, those moments when you realise something is fascinating is happening. You see something, you think, oh, that's interesting. But half the time you sort of, it's almost happens in your subconscious. It happens, you don't think about it, you don't think, right, I need to make a note of that. But it's almost like every day, so something will happen in your life that's just intriguing, and it could be a tiny little thing, or it could be a really nice idea for a story. So you just have to sort of open your mind to when these ideas, the little things happen, just sort of just lock them away and write it down when you can. Obviously there's a great way of forcing that as well is things like reading and watching films and things. There's so many ideas out there, and it's not really stealing. It's you get a little idea from watching a film, and you can take that and push it in different directions. But it's just being aware, exposing yourself to all the things out there, and being aware, and applying it when you can, really.
Do you ever find it difficult to come up with a story?
No. The harder part is making the whole thing. You come up with an idea, you might have a beginning. Very often you'll have a great beginning. So many films are great beginnings, and so many great ideas, and they finish badly, because it's like, how the hell do I finish this thing? And that is often the case. And there's so many stories that are finished badly because people don't really know how to do it, and they just sort of will just basically muggle through. You get through to the end, but it's actually nowhere near as good as that initial idea. And it is very difficult to take a good idea and turn it into something solid, a whole complete thing. That's one of the hardest parts of it. Ideas in themselves, no, I don't really find that difficult.
What point in the game making process is the story created? How early on do you get involved with the story?
Okay, so yeah, from my point of view, as early as possible. I keep on trying to say, Patrick, look, I want to. We're doing this particular game now. Just give it to me for a month. Let me just at least run with it and just bash out all these ideas before anyone else works on it. Just to really reach a point where there's a solid story. And obviously, things will change then afterwards. But to me, the earlier the better. The absolute earlier the better, because you're going to, at some point, like for instance with Z, we ended up, there was a brief outline of a story before I joined, and then we sort of threw that out. I had to start again. It was like, right, let's throw all these ideas out and re-pull them back into the new story idea that we'd developed. And it just seems to make better sense if you already have that in place. For me, anyway. For anything that I think that's narrative based, any stories or games that are narrative based, then yes, to me, it's the first thing.
What was the hardest thing about writing Z? You mentioned Z just then. What was the most difficult?
Hardest thing about Z? Well, I think it was that really. It was the initial. I came onto the project just. It was just you guys had been on it probably for a few months, designing a few games and things. So you had all these mad games like fish tank games and the beginnings of. What were the adventure puzzles called?
The Caverns of the Bandit King and
Text Adventures, weren't they? Text Adventures. You should say the beginnings of all these ideas, and they were attached around a vague story. But basically, what I did, what I joined was I sort of threw that story out and reconfigured all those items around a new outline, and I think that was the hardest part because they would almost lock these ideas, or we've got to do the fish tank thing. So it was just trying to come up with something that would utilise all those ideas, which was a bit mad, but it all worked out really well. And the actual writing of the vast writing quantity, it was 150 pages of actual text. In a way, that was fine. Once you've got the story set, once you've got the breakdown, extended breakdown, let's say 30-40 pages or so, you know what you're going to do, then it's a joy. Then I think it just took a few weeks really to actually write the script as such. So yeah, it's the hardest part is the coming up with the initial story for Z.
And what's your favourite film and book? What sort of stories do you like reading?
Well, Raiders of the Lost Ark is the film that got me into. That's like, oh my god, I want to be in the film industry. That was the one. That was absolutely it. But books at the moment, I'm reading a lot of science fiction at the moment. Some great stuff out there. I love Neil Stephenson's Baroque cycle, and Alistair Reynolds' fantastic space operas. Yeah, science fiction. I'm feeling a bit geeky at the moment, I gotta say, Other films, my god, there's a zillion, aren't there? And I can't think of any of them at the moment. But, I tend to like films with ideas, and books also, that are just inventive. And that sort of crosses over then into games as well. Games that are sort of pushing the boundaries of narrative in a way. Just the ones that aren't just you got a shooter and so all you literally are doing is running around shooting things. But the ones will open up and they'll give you a jetpack, or they'll just do things that are just different. Half-Life is a great example of a game that just doesn't know its own boundaries. It just goes off in whatever way it wants, and it's just fantastic. That to me is almost the perfect game, really.
Have you got any advice for anybody out there who would love to be a writer in the games industry?
If nothing else, write. Yeah, the thing to do is write. If you're in school, if you're in college, and you enjoy writing, just keep writing. Absolutely whatever you enjoy writing, keep doing that. You might enjoy writing novels. Great, well do that. And just develop your own particular voice, and who knows, at some point that will become useful. If you're trying to get into the games industry, you might not be able to get in as a writer, but you might be able to get in as in some other capacity. That will then suddenly become very useful to whatever company you're with. Just keep writing. I guess that can only help.
Brilliant, Christian, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.